Hello and welcome to A Cup of Tea with Dr. Zee, where we share everyday stories with you, everyday women. Are you ready to hear heart-to-heart key issues that we all face, no matter where we are in the world? So grab your cup of tea and let's welcome your host, author, international speaker, reinvention strategist, and woman that's full of faith in God and mankind, Dr. Zena Arinzi.
Hello, and welcome. At 9 minutes past 7, welcome to what? You'll be wondering, why am I panting? I've been in a fire. You're going to say, not another fire. No, this wasn't me this time. This is through relationships, through all the way in Atlanta. My next guest, the amazing Stacey Mollison, has been involved in a chemical fire. Not her herself, but her area, and she'll tell you all about it. But because she's a woman of resilience, a woman who keeps her word, a woman who has done over and above to be on tonight's show, I am so incredibly honored to invite her. She's in the green room, just calming down, having a nice glass of water and some tea, some chamomile tea. But anyway, welcome. My name's Dr. Zee Arinzi, and it's lovely to have you here again, wherever you are, all over the world. If you can put in the chat where you're dialing in from, where you're watching from, that'll be fantastic. Today is episode 27. Oh my days. And if you saw something I wrote quickly on LinkedIn, representation really does matter. And today is no. Actually, how many no's am I saying? It's a fantastic example of when we're talking about representation. We talk about it all the time. Here in the UK, it's Black History Month. But for me, it's not about Black history. It's about being represented wherever you are. It's about your voice being heard. And some of you, if you're new on the show, you'll be wondering, why do I do this? A Cup of Tea with Dr. Z basically is my passion project. It's not for any sort of income or anything. It's more to be able to spotlight everyday women all over the world doing incredible, extraordinary things. And those of you that know me personally know that I'm extremely relational. I love networking. I love meeting people. And I have met amazing people on almost every single continent in the world, face to face and obviously virtually. So it's my absolute pleasure and honor and privilege to introduce my next guest, who you wonder what's her name. I've been talking about her. You're wondering, is she all right? I can see. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Oh, look at this. Sophia from Brussels. Oh, wow. Fikile from South Africa. Wow. Hello, Sophia. Hello, Brepo from Ghana. Wow. And for those of you that maybe you're on LinkedIn or you're on YouTube, wherever you're watching from, you're welcome. Don't forget, get your cup of tea, get some biscuits. I won't tell anyone, some cookies, but relax, because today is going to be really, really incredible. Now, let me tell you a little bit why I do this. I do this because I want people's voices to be seen. I want people to see women just like them that they can relate to, people that were thinking, oh my days, I can't do this. And then you see someone else and you realize, yes, I can. So that's why we do what we do. So, oh, hello, Brepo. So what I'm going to do, let me quickly tell you about my next guest. Her name is Stacey Mollison, and she lives all the way in Atlanta. And we met at an amazing conference, and we'll talk all about that, Go Global. But the wonderful thing about Stacey is that she is leading a Fortune, well, in here we call Fortune 500, and Inc. 5000. And I'll ask her to explain that a bit more, because some of you will be going, what's that? Organization in a diaspora. And she has done so much. It's really a story of from down to up, and she's still soaring. So please fasten your seatbelts as I bring the amazing, phenomenal, incredible Stacey Mollison into the studio. Yay. Let's bring her in. She's smiling.
I-
Hello, Stacey.
Hello, Dr. Z. I got to make you my hype woman. I love it.
Oh my days. Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much for, agreeing to be on the show. Thank you
Yeah,
so much. I know, we were talking about, there's, a few challenges, but we're here,
we're
and
here.
we're grateful. And one thing that is really amazing is that you really are a woman of your word. You really are. Um, and I just want, before we just dive in, I want to just talk a little bit about the chemical fire in Atlanta, because I know, I don't know if there's been loss of lives, but when it's a chemical fire, obviously you can inhale things. I know when we were talking yesterday, you had your mask on. It was like taking us back to COVID. So I know it is quite a challenging time to people's health in your area at the moment. So tell us a little bit about that so people can understand.
Yeah, so it's biolab. It's first of all, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Z, for having me. Yeah, BioLab is the name of the company, and they had a chemical fire early Sunday morning. We started getting these alerts that there is this enormous chemical fire explosion at the chemical plant, and we weren't getting a lot of information about exactly what was going on. I mean, the smoke, they just sent all these alerts. It's almost like the child alerts that you get saying, lock your doors and windows, stay inside, turn off your AC. Mind you, it's still summer here. Uh, turn off your AC
I
and
hate you.
don't
It's
come
getting worse, yeah.
outside. So, of course, we're all calling each other, rushing to Twitter and Instagram and everywhere, and just Facebook, trying to find out, wait a minute, what's going on? And sure enough, this fire broke out, explosion at this biochemical lab. And here's the kicker: water is the accelerant. So dousing it with water caused an even bigger
Wow.
reaction,
Wow.
and so they could not get it contained in the initial stages.
Wow.
EPA came out, all this stuff, finally got it contained. And then about later in the afternoon, the fire reignited.
Wow.
But the challenge here is this is the third time that this biochemical, this plant, this where they say it makes some kind of pool supply, but we're trying to figure out what kind of chemicals you have there that water it
Third
exacerbates
time.
the issue. And so then they started sending out all these alerts that yes, the air is absolutely polluted. They have to evacuate people. The rest of us need to stay indoors. We were indoors for 3 days. Couldn't go anywhere. I had the mask up and guys. I'm like, I don't have food in here. Like I have to go get something to eat. And it's hot. We can't turn on our AC. So it's been a nightmare. We finally got out. But the challenge is, like, I started having a reaction over the last 2 days. So they sent out something saying, like, my ankles started getting swollen, these
Wow.
bumps. And then my throat was really itchy. Um, and I have some headaches. And I even called like my friends and say, "Hey, are you having a reaction? Are your skin feeling really tingly? Like what's going on?" Sure enough, they sent out something last night saying that some of the symptoms are your skin is gonna feel tingly, like it's slightly burning. You're gonna have these reactions. People are coughing and scratchy throat. So it's been a nightmare. I had to take my car to the shop today, and I'm trying to go, and I didn't realize that where they were sending me to take my car is right where it happened. So the whole road is brought off. Thank God I had to call and say, no, that shop is closed. We can't go over there. Everything is still locked down over there. Yeah, it's
Wow.
been bananas.
Well, I mean, listening to this, it's, I'm hoping and I'm praying, and I know the listeners will say this as well, that nothing further happens to you and the people that live in the area, because obviously chemical fire, you can't see, you don't know the reaction, and like you've described, your ankles swelling and other things, your voice being dry and stuff like that. So I'm just hoping that nothing further happens to you and other people that live in your locality, because this is really
Yeah.
scary.
And I want to shout out to my local legislator, Doreen Carter, who is a policymaker. She's a state representative here in the state of Georgia. They are now advocating. She wrote a letter to the governor to shut this plant down. This is the third time this has happened in 2004,
Wow.
2020, and now
Wow.
again. So
Wow.
this is really a hazard to the community, and that plant needs to be shut down. So we're all advocating. We're now putting together a class action lawsuit against them. So they need to shut it down.
Right, right. I just hope everything works out okay. I mean, us in the UK, we've got this thing that we do, which is really, it doesn't work, but we always say that a cup of tea always makes everything, better. So, get
I'm
your cup
glad
out
you
for you. you know. But I'm so sorry that you've had to go through this, and everyone else that lives in the area. And I pray that you win the lawsuit. But more importantly, I hope that they close that plant down, finally, or at least they solve the issue so it never happens again.
We need to shut it down. We don't want it in our community.
Well, hey, I agree. Right, let's dive right in. So, Stacey, like I said, thank you in the intro. Thank you so much. In spite of all these challenges, you're here. I know it's not easy. When I first met you, I was blown away by your passion, and we'll talk about that soon. But by your passion for making sure that representation matters, making sure that, in spite of stereotypes, you've been able to go forward, and not just go forward, but you've been able to lead and employ people in an area where women don't particularly work in, and you do so many other things. And so I'm just trying to figure out where to start this question. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning. So let's talk about your early life, because that will help to kind of, describe this contextually. So just a little bit about your upbringing and how it has influenced your path in being a leader, because you have reinvented narratives, you've reinvented what people say can happen, you've made impossibilities become possible. So I want to know where that came from. Where did that drive come from? And I'm sure our listeners would like to know as well.
Okay, so I'm from Guyana, South America. So I grew up with my grandmother in Guyana until I was age 10. And then I came with my mom over to New York and grew up in Brooklyn and Queens, New York, went to elementary and high school and college, university in New York. And in fact, true enough, I knew at a very, very early age that I wanted to have my own business. And let me tell you why. My grandmother will say this 100%. My grandmother is now 106 years old. She'll be 107 on Thanksgiving Day. And she is just as vibrant and spunky and as ever. You can talk to her. Sometimes I'm just so amazed that she's so old and I can have a full-fledged conversation with her. She remembers things I don't. But I grew up with my grandmother, and my grandmother would always say, in Guyana, when you talk a lot and you're very outspoken, they say you're a malta prepre, right? You like talk, right? So my grandmother used to say that multi years, yeah, multi prepare. You like you like to talk, you like to speak up. And she always used to say to me, so people like you, y'all have to have their own business because you like to tell people what to do. So I tell people at a very young age, she sowed that seed and put it in me that you need to have your own, because you obviously like to make the rules and not follow the rules. And so I actually went to a high school in New York. So New York have these specialized high school. So if you did really well in school, like I was a good student, you could test into a special school outside of your regular neighborhood zone, because in New York we used to have like zone school. You go to your like your neighborhood school.
Right.
However, if you were, did well in academia, you could test into a specialized school. So I tested into a school called Murray Bertram High School for Business Careers.
Wow.
So I literally went to a high school that was strictly for people who were interested in doing business. So I started there at 14 years old, and I got my first job there. And I used to work at this. They had something called co-op. So we would literally go to school one week, and we would go to work in corporate America, full suit, everything. So think about this. I'm 14 years old, and I'm working at Apple Savings Bank, uptown New York, around the corner from Central Park. We went to lunch in Central Park, and and I'm working and doing everything just like the regular
Wow.
employees. And I
Wow.
was a student banker in the banking and finance department. So I was marketing major, marketing and finance major. So I worked at the bank, in the finance department, and I worked there all the way through sophomore year in college, and they paid for me to go to college.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so I just knew very young, and I thoroughly enjoyed every moment, and that's why I said, I tell people I've tried a lot of other things, but I've always come back to business because I think that's where I feel the most passionate, more vibrant, because it's been a part of my DNA for so long.
I love it. I love it. I love it. My next question, you've actually answered it, but I was going to ask, are there any role models, public figures or role models that have really sort of helped, shape your perspective, or, with regards to leadership? But you've already talked about your grandmother. You
Yes, I think she's the biggest
yes,
influence, just
yes.
because she's always had a very positive and engaging nature, but she wielded a big stick. We were still scared of her. But she always did it just so diplomatically, so much with love, but she will come get you. So, and my grandmother was all about doing things at a high level. Like she was so serious, even in the way she spoke. It was always very formal. She
Mm,
was always well spoken, well read, and things like that. And I think she instilled that in me, like a real zeal to when people look at you and they know that, oh, this person is about her business. She's always, doing things at a certain level. And so like people who like speak of my grandmother, they speak of her in reverence. Like she is so widely respected and loved. And I've always just emulated that because I felt like she didn't do it in a very aggressive manner. She did
mm.
it by being authentically who she was, but also making sure that people understand she was about her business.
I like that. I mean, I now want to meet her. I need to come to Guyana. We've had this conversation. I need to
Yeah,
come.
yeah, she's actually in Brooklyn. She's in New
Oh,
York.
it's in
No,
Brooklyn. All right.
she's in Brooklyn. I tried to get her to move to Atlanta. She said, "Oh, you're too quiet there. You don't hear no siren. You're too quiet. I can't leave Brooklyn." Yeah.
Right. This is amazing. Now, this show's always is about spotlighting everyday women, and every time I ask this question, I get different answers. But to your mind, what is an everyday woman?
Ooh. You know what? When I think about an everyday woman, I always think of the most important thing I think about women. When I think of women, I always say, boy, we can multitask like nobody else. I mean,
Yeah.
men are like, most of them is like one track mind. And you know what I think most about women? We deliver. Like
Yes.
I
Yes.
feel like men,
Yes.
they have all
Yes.
these fantastical ideas, and I call them the ultimate visionary, right? They can envision all these things, but they still always got to get back to the woman to help implement and
Implement.
actually get
Absolutely.
it done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Women get things done 100% without a
Mhm.
shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. So
Yeah.
if you're listening, everyday woman, Everyday
Yeah.
woman, wherever you are around the world, you're listening to this, or you're listening on the replay, or you're listening even after,
Yeah.
I don't know, 50 years from now, wherever it is, you get things done.
Get it done.
Don't let
And we
anyone
know where
tell you
we what the
differently.
baby crying, the phone ringing. What okay, let's go. Pick up the phone, hold the baby. Let's get it. What you need my foot to do something else? All right, I got it.
Yeah, we get things done. And so, because people think, oh, everyday woman means that you're ordinary. No, an everyday woman is multidimensional,
Yes.
a multitasker,
Yes.
multi-talented, has
That's it.
multi eyes. I remember when I was little, my mom could see behind her head. There was nothing I could, we, everyday women, you exude the
Yes.
multi-talented, multi-gifted,
Mm-hmm.
multi-sighted,
Yes.
multi-implementer. Oh, I love this. I love this. You're getting me started. You're getting me started. Now, can
Yeah.
so in your view, so you've talked about what you think embodies, an everyday woman, and I like that. How would you, in your experience, no, before I ask that question, tell us a little bit about your organization. I really want to know more
Mhm.
about. I mean, I know a lot about that, but I know our listeners would want to know a bit about that and how you started and stuff like that. So,
So a couple of things. So I'm talking about Destination Guyana now. So I got a couple of things going on. I'm a business owner, but the project that I'm most passionate about right now is this project. I do call it my passion project, which is Destination Guyana now. Um, so this started, I would say, back in 2018. So Guyana, I'm from Guyana, South America, and this super fantabulous thing happened, right? We just found one of the largest finds of oil anywhere in the world in the last 100 years. So you take this little, English speaking country in South America. We're the only English speaking country in South America.
yeah.
In terms of land mass, we're 83,000 square miles, but we have only about 850,000 people.
Wow.
And this super fantastic thing happens, and it puts us on the map. We're now the fastest growing economy in the world. We've had unbelievable GDP growth, and we have moved like to number two in terms of Caribbean nations, and now we're headed to one of the wealthiest countries in the region. So it started there with me now saying, okay, I was born here, but I came since 1983, right? And my mom and her contemporaries, they really didn't do a good job of keeping us connected to our heritage in Guyana. I fortunately, because my grandmother went back all the time, and I still had cousins and stuff there. I was still like going with my grandmother, not my mother. I was going with like my grandmother, visiting, hanging out with my cousins. I would spend the summer, that kind of thing. But I just know so many people my age group are with children. We're second generation, and that have no ties. I at least was going back to Ghana. I just had my brother go back a few years ago. He hadn't been in 34 years before.
Wow.
From the time we came together in 83, a few
Wow.
years ago was the first time he went back on my insistence. I was like, you gotta go. This is crazy. So I wanted to really start something that really was about educating the people that were not from Guyana and re-educating the Guyanese person in the diaspora. And I just wanted them to know that there needs to be a paradigm shift, right? There is a new Guyana. Even everything that you remember about Guyana is different. The roads, because of all this enormous development, there's a huge amount of infrastructure development. So just the roads are there. They're roads where roads never were. Things are very different. The housing dynamics is different. The areas that you visited are completely different. And then the opportunities are different now because of the oil oil and gas opportunities, they've now created opportunities in just about every sector of business, right? And so I felt like I was doing the Guyanese diaspora, like it was a disservice because we didn't have the information, and we had all of this stuff, right, of when we left. And so
Mm,
I
mm,
decided, so it initially started with me, um, the Guyana Association of Georgia. They made me like the diaspora representative. And so I created this committee called the Homeland and International Committee. And so
right.
that was 2018. And so
That's
we
in
were
Atlanta.
in Atlanta, yeah. And so we represent all the Guyanese in the state of Georgia, right? And so our goal was, when I formed that committee, it was really about starting that process. But what I realized was, like, once I started doing that, was like, oh, this is bigger than that, right? We really needed to have a project that was solely focused on three phases of that, because what I recognized, the education and awareness was just step one.
Right.
And so just the reteaching and teaching, and finding the connections, and starting to get the resources that, we can cross pollinate from the diaspora back to Guyana, and starting to do working with government, working with the US government, working with private organizations, working with stakeholders, all these pieces. We really needed to make it something more formalized. And so I created Destination Guyana Now, because I knew that the deciding factor for somebody in the diaspora is
Mm,
being on the ground. So I decided, okay, phase one was really all across the diaspora, having the conversations, doing the education. But phase two was, people got to come. They
yes.
got to come. They have to come. They got to see. They got to touch. They got to feel. And all the things I'm talking about, they need to be present so that they can make an informed decision
Yeah.
about how this is.
Yeah.
They want make an informed decision, and then you can't just tell me no more. I ain't got time with Guyana. Now you come, you see. Now you could say, okay, I came. Maybe not. But most of the 99% of the people that I bring down is like, oh yeah, I definitely want to be involved.
It's funny you should say that, because I know when we first met, I think that was the first thing I was saying. I need to come to Guyana. I need to come to Guyana like yesterday. I need to, so you're absolutely correct, and I can hear your passion when you're talking about it. This really is your passion project. And if you're listening now, or you're listening on the replay, go to Guyana. There are amazing opportunities, all sorts of opportunities. Nothing is too big or too small. Don't think that you can't just, um, I'll share more details about that for you. Maybe I'll share that in the chat or later on.
Mhm.
Really, really do that. I also want to talk about Libra, because that's what I because this woman here, you can see she's a powerhouse. She's spoken about her passion project, which is Guyana. What do you call it?
Destination Guyana Now, not next week, not next year. No, right now.
Now, in fact, I think it's the 18th, around the
Yes, the
18th.
18th to the 21st,
You
we're
see,
hosting.
you thought I didn't remember. But even if you don't go, then please, please, please have a think about it. It's something that you really need to do. There are so many opportunities there. I will be going, so I'm not telling you to do what I'm not going to do. I'm going to be going, maybe not on the 18th, but I will be going to Guyana. Stacey knows this, but I want to talk about Libra, because
Yes.
this woman that you see here, this woman, she is really a powerhouse, and she's a property developer, a real estate developer.
Mhm.
She is an employer of people, predominantly men. So you can imagine her, do this, build it like this, do this, So, and this organization is an Inc. 5000. So, for my understanding, and this is just my minimal understanding, is it's just like how you have the Forbes, list, and you have, the Fortune 500 and all that. So the ink is probably something similar, but for
Yeah.
stateside. Is that
Yeah.
right?
So Inc. is really about small businesses. And so you make the Inc. 5,000 business when you prove that you're one of the fastest growing small businesses in your particular, space sector, wherever. And so we've been fortunate enough to get on the Inc. 5,000 list. And it's been a pleasure. So Libra Management Group um, is really my organization. I'm the president and CEO there. And we have been in business for about 17 years. And that business has really three verticals that I focus on, which is the real estate, which is real estate development, sales, advising. And we have a management consulting vertical where we predominantly provide technical support services to the U.S. federal government. So we kind of do that in two things. But predominantly in the public health space. So like one of our main clients is the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. So during COVID, you learned all about the CDC. So CDC is our main client. We have a lot of staff that work on site at CDC, from admin, support, project management, all the way up to chemists, biologists, microbiologists. Look, we had animal techs doing HIV testing on monkeys. Like we had a contract doing all kind of stuff. And then we also were fortunate enough to not just provide services to CDC, but also to provide products in the medical supplies sector. So the Centers for Disease, the Health and Human Services, they have what's called the Strategic National Stockpile, which is when during COVID, they kept saying, well, why doesn't the stockpile have this? Well, they weren't funding the stockpile. So
Yes,
all
yes.
the pandemic supplies ran low. So during the pandemic, I was actually one of the vendors that was supplying medical and what we call emergency preparedness supplies to the Strategic National Stockpile. And that was an amazing experience, just to be during COVID and going through that and having the opportunity to know that you were a part of supporting and helping during that time. And we also we had staff in the office of the director during the pandemic. And it was, amazing to see, like, my staff is the one taking in calls from the public, dealing with all the issues. We went through just a tumultuous time, and they just had to deal with an enormous amount of things that wasn't necessarily what they initially signed up for when we got the contract, but the pandemic happened. And so, yeah, I have thoroughly enjoyed working for the U.S. federal government, providing resources there. And then I would say our next vertical is logistics. So we have a logistics arm, and Amazon is our direct client. So we actually have trucks on the road that provide delivery of Amazon goods on the behalf of Amazon. And so Amazon is our main client. That business is ran out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And then now we've expanded into Guyana, where we are now set up. So we've set up an affiliate company in Guyana. So we've done business with our U.S.-based company in Guyana. We've had contracts in Guyana. And now we've set up a local content business in Guyana, which is my company in the U.S. is called Libra Management Group. And so in Guyana, it's Libra Management and Energy Group, where we are now focused on going after opportunities in the oil and gas sector. And I'm so excited to say that we've just got our first contract in the oil and gas sector with one of the ExxonMobil tier one vendors. And it's in providing pharmaceuticals and medical supplies, something that has been a part of our business. So super excited about that.
I'm just super excited listening to all this, because it's one of those things where, you've been sharing all this and I'm just looking at you, like, you know, and I guess people hearing this will be doing the same. And then you probably get this reaction a lot. But I think what I also like is the humility, because you've been, the words you've used, your language. We've been fortunate enough, we've been privileged enough, we've been fortunate enough. I'm excited. But what people don't know is that for you to get where you are, you and the organization, it takes hard work, sleepless nights.
I need sleep right now.
Sleepless nights, hard work, lots of no's. Because I want people listening, because the reason why I do this show is we're talking about everyday women that have the same challenges, just like all of us. It could be a relationship challenge, it could be a health challenge, whatever it is, it could be something from our past. So it takes hard work where you've just got to take your life by the horns and, be.
Yes. And
Be.
I think particularly too, it's such a big challenge going into, even though I'm Guyanese, going into an international market that has a lot of misogyny. And so
Absolutely.
going into an environment where it's dominated by male business. And, I've even been told there that she come in here with your U.S. attitude, thinking she going to control things. And I'm just saying, I've done a service, pay me my money. But I'm not going to let you get away with not paying me my money. So because I'm speaking up as a woman, I've done a service, I've provided support on a contract, and you haven't paid me, and I'm demanding my money. Oh, I'm a problem now. So a lot of it is, some of that language. And the crazy thing about that whole scenario is that happened, then the people that we were doing the contract for had the audacity to go to my male subcontractor who was working on the contract and get
For
him.
you.
Yeah, for me. Yeah. And we were working on the contract together, but I brought the contract. He was doing the technical piece of it, and went to him and basically was like, you don't need her. She got an attitude. Like, I can take the contract from her and give it to you. And, thank God for relationships and men that support women. He clearly said, no, sir. She brought me here. I don't even live in Guyana. Like, she brought me here. She's the one who got the contract. You gave the contract to her. I'm working under her business. Like, no, sir, we will not be doing that.
And this just touches on, you might be listening right now, and perhaps you're not a woman in business, perhaps you're in a 9 to 5. It doesn't matter. But if you are in a leadership role, whether working for yourself or working for an organization, you will typically have this kind of situation where someone will try to undercut you, someone will try to demean you or make you feel as if you don't deserve it. So I was speaking at an event last week, the Zenith Global Health Summit. I was the MC, and I remember somebody had given a story, a wonderful woman who's, very accomplished, I think a professor, surgeon. She's got a whole heap of team, under her. And she gave an example of where she would go in to consult, and they would think that she was the cleaning lady. And there's nothing wrong with cleaning, and so what I'm saying is that as a woman, you will have these challenges.
Absolutely.
Whether you're a teacher, a nurse, a businesswoman, and Inc. 5000 businesswoman, it doesn't matter. You will have, and so you have to be able to speak up, which is the lesson I want everyone to take from this. Speak up. Self-advocacy is so powerful. No one is going to speak for you. You have to speak up for yourself, and then other people will support you. Next week, starting, nothing to do with this, but next week, me and 2 amazing members of my team, the Reinvent Your Experience, we're starting the power of 30, the power of 3 in 30 for women in leadership, whether you're in a 9 to 5, whether you're in a business, in 30 minutes to just, talk about your challenges. brainstorm strategies together, and then you go off every week,
Mhm.
every Wednesday. You get the power, the support that you need.
Mm. Yeah.
It's so incredibly important. Being
Mm.
a leader, a female leader, is an incredibly lonely journey.
Journey. And I think so many women suffer from that imposter syndrome that they are constantly asking themselves when they've gotten to a certain level, why me? Do I deserve it? Should I be here? And one thing a woman said to me many, many years ago, and she said, the difference between men and women is that if there is a job opportunity, and you put a man and a woman and you say, here's this job opportunity, the first thing the man is going to do is figure out how he's going to get it. He's going to go through whatever lie, put down whatever he needs to do to get that. The woman is going to be questioning if she should even apply. Is she even
Absolutely.
qualified to apply?
Absolutely.
Should she even put? She may not get in. She starts to be her own obstacle.
Absolutely.
Whereas the man, he don't even get, qualification is not even the question. He's just like, okay, I
I'm
want to
going
be the
for
one
it.
to get it.
I'm
Yeah,
going for it.
yeah,
Absolutely. That is
yeah.
a fantastic example. And, we say this all the time. I coach on this as well. We look at things and maybe it will have a selection criteria of about maybe 8 different things. And you
Mm-hmm,
look at the 8 things and you've got like 4, so you don't apply.
mm-hmm,
And then maybe, 2 years later, the opportunity comes again. And this time you've got maybe 7 of those things. So your friends say, look, just got it. So you apply and you get it. And then you meet someone who is now your manager or your director who has no qualifications whatsoever and is asked, so ladies, just go for it. Go
Stand
for
in
it.
your power. Stand in your
Go
power.
for it. Go for it.
Mhm.
You know, I'm just on that. I want you. I know you're tired, and I want you to be here forever.
Okay.
But I'm going to wrap up very soon, and I just want to, because we've been talking about this, and you've touched on imposter syndrome. And I was just wondering, what other misconceptions would you say? Common misconceptions for women in leadership roles, whether in business, especially in the diaspora, from the diaspora, because you've talked about going to, and that happens. My background is Nigerian. Every time you go to Nigeria, they're like, oh you boy, you think so it's the same thing. You think you're gonna come with your English ways or your American ways,
Mhm.
and all that. And if you're a woman, you've got to also think about, and I don't know how it is in Guyana, but in on the continent in Africa, you've got the male domination. You got to respect,
Yeah,
and all that. You got to, so you've got to tread carefully.
yeah.
So, but you still have to advocate for yourself. So I want to ask, what common misconceptions do you think people have about women in leadership roles, especially if they're from the diaspora?
They can't be fair but firm. I think a lot of the challenge around women in leadership and when the preconceived notions that people have that women aren't good leaders is that they don't think women can be tough. They don't think women can make those difficult decisions. They're going to be too emotional about it, and that's where I practice fair but firm, and where the teachings of my grandmother come in. And here's what I tell my staff all the time. I have a zero tolerance level for BS, right? Like I don't, you're never going to disrespect me because I'm not going to disrespect you, right? We're always going to hold to a certain level of professionalism, but I am not with the BS. Don't even come over here with it. And so I think that, that's one of the biggest things I see that they believe that, women can't rule and make really hard decisions because they're going to be too emotional or whatever. And then the other piece of it too is that well, now I think that perception is changing about women not being smart enough. I mean, even in this election cycle, you hear that nonsense about, oh, she's not smart, she's something wrong with her or whatever. You just, if I put your resume against hers, well, then what are we even talking about, right?
Absolutely,
And so
absolutely.
that's it right there, that they're not smart enough, they're not tough enough, they're not this. But guess what? Women, we have the population of women in academia now are almost twofold of men. right? We're seeing it in the schools and stuff. And women entrepreneurs are the fastest growing business
Agree.
across
Absolutely.
the world. So
Absolutely.
we're dispelling myths every day. And so
Absolutely.
running
Yeah.
$1 billion businesses. And so that's what I say, the misconceptions I see the most, that's happening. We're not smart enough and we're not tough enough. And so I think that the younger generation, though, like when the young, oh my God, I am
Hello, Gen Z.
a
Oh
lot
my
of
days.
people who think that, oh, this young generation is this or that. I'm always impressed by them
I love them. I love them. I've got two in my household,
because they
26.
got a 3-year-old daughter. My 23-year-old daughter wouldn't put up with a quarter of the stuff I remember at a young age that I was grappling with or dealing with. And just in the way that she presents herself, right? In that confident swagger, like she's like, "What, mommy? What? No, oh no, yeah." So I
I'm
think that
telling you.
there's such hope for the young women because they are unapologetically who they are. They
Yes.
stand, I mean, in
Yes.
their
Yes.
power. And
Yes. Yes.
so
They
I
do.
see just from my grandmother's generation to my mother's generation to my generation to my daughter, and it's fantastic to know that all those generations exist. And you know what my grandmother said to me, my daughter went to school on a athletic scholarship, right? She went to a soccer scholarship, and now she just graduated from undergrad with an international business degree, and she's now getting her MBA, and she works in my one of my companies on the logistics side. She's my hiring manager. And I was having this conversation with my grandmother, and this is like, to me, the crux of the old meeting the young. My
Yes.
grandmother said to me, and she said, "Oh, Millie, what's she doing?" She said, "Oh, she finished school. I don't know what she was doing playing that boy sport." That's the first thing. She considered soccer in
Yes.
her
Yes.
generation
That's a
to
boy
only
sport.
be
Yes.
a boy sport. She said, "I don't
Yes.
understand why she was
Yes.
playing that boy sport."
Yes.
And then I said to, she's like, "So Millie working with you? I should going to school?" I'm like, "Yes." And she said, "Boy, I so proud to know that women can do all these things. Young
Oh.
women could do all these things. In my day, young women did have these opportunities." And I said to myself, that's it right there.
That is it right there. I'm tearing up. That's it right there, And this just leads into our final question, Stacey. I mean, you're such a powerhouse. You really are. Um, what is your vision, you know,
Mhm,
for the future of women in the diaspora? Because let's bring it back to your passion. I know we've talked about
mhm.
Libra because that's what I'm passionate about because I just love that, but I'm also, beginning to be, she's indoctrinated me. So I'm beginning to be passionate about destination Guyana.
That's it. We get everybody.
It's like you can't be my friend if you're not passionate about what I'm doing. Okay. Um, but so let's just bring it back full cycle. Talking about diaspora. What is your vision? We've talked about young women, we talked about old women, we talked about how the full cycle, everything's come back around and stuff like that. What is your vision for the future of women in a diaspora? How
Mhm,
do you see your organization, including a destination Guyana,
mhm, mhm.
contributing to that vision? And what 3 tips can you give to any woman wanting to start something new and is too scared to go forward?
Mhm. Oh boy, I coach and talk to women about this. Get rid of that fear. Fear is the number one thing that's stopping women from walking into their destiny. It's not anything else but the fear you've created in your head. And
Yeah.
it's not even, it's non existent to me. Like,
Yeah.
people always ask me, how do you do this? I say to myself, look, y'all got to sit me down and tie me down and convince me I can do something. Like, if I set my mind to it, I
I
tell
like when
people,
you go into the Guyanese when you leave Atlanta and you go into Guyanese. I love it. I love it. So
yeah, because I feel like there's no one that could tell me that I am not going to be able to accomplish a goal that I've set for myself, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that I was having this conversation with a friend of mine who I was coaching, and I said to her, you know, I gotta help you get past this place. I've been having the same conversation with you for 5 years. And the only difference between me and you in the 5 years, we started at the same exact place. I was telling you I was going to do the thing that I'm now doing.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
are still over here telling me you're trying to figure out. The only difference between me and you is I didn't let fear stop me. That's the
Mm,
only difference.
mm,
I told her, I said, you've put barriers on yourself. Nobody else did it.
mm.
Nothing in your environment stopped you from moving when I moved. Only you did it.
Yes.
We
Yes.
had the same issues, the same opportunity. The only difference is I acted. And so I think fear stops women from acting. Look, today, ladies, like, hear me. If you don't get anything else out of this, inaction is a crutch. Do not allow inaction to be a part of your story.
Yeah.
I can tell you, particularly in business, the only difference between people succeeding and not succeeding is people taking action. You know
Absolutely.
how you'll see something and somebody will say, I came up with that idea 20 years ago. And look, somebody, yeah, but you didn't do
You didn't
anything.
do anything with it. You didn't do anything with it.
Right. And the person
Absolutely.
sees the idea. Well, you didn't do it. So that's what I'm saying. So I think definitely one of my biggest tips is action. You have to act. And even when people come to me and they say, oh, can you coach me? Can you mentor me? And here's what I tell people: I'm not a mentor. I provide guidance and advice, but I always test you. So I'm going to give you an assignment and I'm going to see how you carry out that assignment. And
Mm,
then if I see that you haven't done anything, you fall to the bottom of the list. You can't even get in contact with me. And they say,
absolutely.
oh, I'm calling, texting. Yeah, I know you are. I'm
You
not
haven't found
responding
my
to a
parsley
person.
yet. I
Yeah,
do.
like you're
I
wasting
do
my
exactly
time.
the same thing. I do
Yeah,
exactly the same thing. You can't waste my time.
you can't. I'm
Yeah.
going to always give you the opportunity to sit with me, talk with me, because I believe that every single person that engages with you deserve is. So a lot of people reach out to me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or whatever, and particularly if it's about business, absolutely, you get one meeting. You get an opportunity. I want to hear from you. I'm going to talk to you. But when I give you that assignment and it goes into a black hole, nothing happened, then you show up another 6 months later and like, oh, I cannot know that's not how that works.
Mhm.
So that's the other piece. Like, be about business. Like, if you are reaching out to somebody as a resource to help you move the idea forward, do something. Like, don't waste people's time and build your resource network. A
Yeah.
lot of times when people come to me and they say they're interested in doing something, they want to start a business in there. The first question I ask is, okay, what organizations are you involved in? Because if you're in business, you have to, and it's a particular thing you want to do, especially as women, we're learning, right? We need proper resources around us. So please get involved in places and spaces where you can be nurtured to help you get to the end goal. So,
Mm.
or there's so
I like.
many women facing organizations out there that provide technical support,
Mm,
assistance, even funding to
mm,
really great women led ideas, women led organizations. I want
mm,
women to get in your tribe, get connected. We are here for you, but we don't know if you're sitting at home and you're telling your friends about an idea and you're not in the places and spaces that can help you move that idea forward.
mm. I love that. I was just speaking to someone the other day actually. She'd been referred to me. So we had a quick chat. It was one of those you had a quick chat, but the quick chat ended up being an hour. So she was happy because she was busy writing down all the different things. I'm like, I'm glad you're writing down, but I want to hear that you've actually done them. these are some little tweaks that you can do now before you even start doing anything else. So
Yeah.
do this, are you, I want to write a book, I want to do this. Okay, so are you writing blogs? No. Are you on LinkedIn? Oh, I don't really like LinkedIn. Are you in discussion groups? Are you in forums? Do this. Start with this first,
It's right.
just little tweaks. It doesn't have to be something really massive.
It's
And
right.
because the way you do the little things is how you do the great things,
That's
And,
it right there.
you
That's
know,
why I always give assignments, because I always say, let me see what they do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you've got one more. I'm
Mhm.
trying to
Okay.
squeeze you out. Squeeze out everything. Take it now. You might not get her again. So take it at the
Yeah.
last.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, find a successful person that that you admire and you're striving to be like, and get connected. A lot of times when I talk to really successful people, they tell me how they reach out to some amazing people. Like there's a young friend of mine, Leonte Benton, and he's doing some fantastic things in the commercial real estate world. And I remember him saying to me, like, when I was like 20, I wrote like 9 letters to like all the people that I admired, Warren Buffett, this, like all these amazing, and he got responses. Like Warren Buffett told him, read these books, do this, So I always say, like for me, I have some fantastic mentors. Just people like, now I'm in real estate development. Well, what am I doing? I'm surrounding myself with people who are involved in the real estate development space, making sure when I'm doing government, surround myself with people who understand the federal government space, who are, doing these things. And so for me, it's not just, here's the thing about when I tell people about mentorship. Everybody should not be your mentor. Like, be very strategic about who it is. People just love to say, "Oh, I have a mentor." No, is that mentor? Can they really help you move forward in the thing that you're trying to do? And the other, I add a fourth one. Stop getting advice from people who aren't more successful than you.
Absolutely, 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 absolutely.
Look, certain people can't, you can listen. Here's what I tell people: I listen to anybody. I will listen, but I'm real careful about how I move forward with the information, right? Because people will try to dissuade you, they'll tell you all kind of things. So you have to be careful about who you're surrounded by and how these people are helping you to push your vision forward.
Yes,
And
yes.
so definitely mentorship, getting the right mentor. Let's say that. So we're going to put a caveat on it, right? Strategic mentorship. So we'll go over fear. Get rid of that fear. You are the one that's standing in your way,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Number two, what did we say? We want
Act.
to make sure that we act.
Yes,
We act
yes.
on doing something. Stop
Yeah.
waiting. There's never going to be a perfect time, ever.
Never, never, never,
Never.
never,
And even
never.
when you think it's
Absolutely.
perfect, it shows you that it really might not have been
Yes.
the best time, right? So we need to act. Then we need to find proper mentors, and then we need to make sure that we're surrounding ourselves with people who can add
Right.
positive energy and direction and
Yes.
reinforce how we need to move forward in the thing that we're trying to do.
Yeah, I like that, and I'll just add one after that, which is probably a culmination of your number 3 and number 4 in terms of getting mentorship. It needs to be someone or a group of people, but someone really who can open doors for you. So someone that will champion, not a gatekeeper. You want someone
Yeah.
that will champion. I was watching something that Vushi, the South African guy, lovely guy. I saw it on TikTok or Instagram this morning. He was talking about sponsorship, and he said that a proper sponsor will open doors for you. So
Mhm.
he was just like he was talking about, having mentors. I have mentors as well, and he was talking about. He said, he sent a message to his mentors. Oh, guess what? I had the opportunity to speak at Harvard. at Harvard Business School and everything. And so his mentor was like, oh, fantastic. And basically, he sent the video to his mentor just to tell his mentor, and his mentor sent it to every single WhatsApp group he's in, cheering him on. You know, every single. So now what's out of that? So many other different opportunities. And so it doesn't matter how high or low, and I'm using the wrong words, but it doesn't matter where you are on the chain, where you are on your journey.
Right.
Look for a mentor. No one's too big for you. Don't superstar anyone. Just reach out. And if you reach out to this one and they say no, reach out to the next one. But reach out. And with that, I'm gonna sign off. Thank you so much. I can't wait for our chat in the green room, but thank you so much. I know that the listeners have got so much out of this. I know that I'm going to get so many comments later on, especially on the And I want to thank you again from my heart space to your heart space. Thank you for taking the time, the chemical fire, being so busy and all the wonderful things that you do, but still taking out the time to actually share your time, your space, your expertise, your power, your passion, and your Destination Guyana.
Oh yeah, let me take Destination Guyana now. My our conference, the Business and Investment Conference, is happening in Guyana, October 18th to the 21st. I'm actually leaving for Guyana on Sunday. So I get there early to make sure everything is arranged properly. So at the Georgetown Marriott Hotel in Guyana, we're super excited. We have actor and real estate developer Malik Yoba that's going to be flying in. Our featured speaker, he found out that he has Guyanese roots, so he's never been to Guyana. So he's really excited about coming there. And then we just have just an unbelievable amount of speakers. We have over 30 speakers, and we have an on-the-ground tour, so people get to actually touch, feel, see. So go to destinationguyananow.com and check us out. Thank you.
See. I should have put that in the chat. Okay, I'll put that. Let's see if I can do that right now.
Yeah, destinationguyananow.com.
Destination Guyana now.com. .com. Hope I spelled it right. Let's see, where are you? Is that right? That looks wrong.
Yeah, no, it's right.
Okay. I forgot to put the www. But anyone, you guys, you're not new to the internet. Just put www and all that. And click on here. You get all the information you need to know about Destination Guyana now. Stacey, thank you so much. And with that, this is another fantastic end to episode 27 of A Cup of Tea with me. Yes, Dr. Z. Let's pour it up because you've spoken a lot.
I got it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Wow. You know, when you're having so much fun, you never know.
Thanks for listening to A Cup of Tea with Dr. Z, your reinvention queen. We hope you've been motivated and inspired to go out there and conquer any obstacles and issues you may face. You can find Dr. Zena on all social platforms. Until next time, remember, you're not alone.